Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 1991 film Alligator II, The Mutation, and if you missed it, I already put up my review the prior day to putting this up for Alligator, and I really did enjoy Alligator. Alligator II, The Mutation, I'm glad I saw it, but that said, I'm probably not going to go back to it. It's a lot slower, like a lot of people I've heard talk about Alligator 2 in comparison to the first one, needs more alligator, actually. And when you actually see the alligator, a lot of times not looking so hot. There are a few scenes where it was relatively okay, but for the most part, not that great. And they actually did use some stock footage from the first film, which you can tell, at least a few of the scenes. One that sticks out in my mind was the part where there's like the lake within the city, and you're seeing like nighttime shot with some foliage in it, and the alligator like going and actually getting into the water. That one was exactly the same as Alligator. That was some of that stock footage. But let's get into Alligator 2: The Mutation more. Directed by Jon Hess, who also directed The Lawless Land, Watchers, The Assassin, and Excessive Force. Written by Curt Allen, who also wrote scripts for Walking the Edge, Deadly Passion, Hollywood Harry, Bloodstone, and Blind Vengeance. And it's great to see Dee Wallace in this film. It is also great to see Steve Railsback. Obviously, Dee Wallace playing Hodges, David Hodges' wife, Christine Hodges, and Steve Railsback playing Vinny in this, the main bad guy. Now, I best know Railsback from Turkey Shoot, which, if you have not seen Turkey Shoot, totally fun. I think it might still be on Shudder at the moment, so you can check it out there. And Dee Wallace. I mean, we all know Dee Wallace, but I most recently watched her in Popcorn, which is a very fun film, and she is a wonderful actress. And I will say, every single scene in this film, she makes better, because she's such a good actress. Like, her performance is the best in this film. I do think Railsback did a good job as well, but Dee Wallace, whenever she's on film, doing an excellent job. So I wanted more of her for that reason, and I thought we were actually going to get it at the point where they were talking to her, and, you know, she's an expert on some of this stuff with the alligator, and she's like, I'm going to be a part of this. So I was like, oh, sweet. That means more scenes with her in it. Hopefully a lot coming up, but no. You know, it just was a little here, a little there. Could have used more alligator. Could have used more Dee Wallace, in my opinion. But that just saying. Now, Brandon Chase, who was the producer for this film, and I believe also the producer for the first Alligator, was originally going to direct. And he's actually directed Girl in Trouble, Relations, Threesome, and yes, did produce Alligator. So it kind of looks like it was pornography mainly that he had been directing prior. So I don't know what the change was. I guess he wanted to direct it, and then they just decided it might be better in someone else's hands. Don't know. I already talked about the stock footage. Reportedly, comedian Shecky Green was supposed to star in the film. Probably would have been better because the guy they got, I don't even know his name, the guy they got to play Hodges, not that great, to be honest. There's a lot of not that great acting in it, which is why, in particular, you're just like, oh my gosh, thank you. When, like, Dee Wallace is in there or Steve Railsback, you're just like, oh my gosh, thank you. People who are really good at acting. Some okay performances, but some really bad ones as well. But, you know, it was almost still the 80s, so you can kind of expect that. They waste no time getting chemicals in the sewer in this one, obviously, with Vinny and his goons just, like, literally dumping chemicals in there. It's kind of like in the first film how they didn't waste any time getting to the quick backstory on Ramon. In this one, they don't waste any time getting chemicals in the sewer, because if you've seen the first one, you know chemicals in the sewer or stuff from pharmaceutical companies or whatever, in this case, industrial waste, it seems like, would... Actually, was it pharmaceutical as well? It may have been. I don't remember, but I wasn't paying attention that much to that part. But anyway, they're getting it into the sewer, so you know the first film, you know it means, here we're going to get a gigantic alligator, just like in the first film, which is what you're wanting. Let's be honest, that's what we're wanting, and we're wanting some badass rampaging, which we don't really get, which is why this one, I would say, just watch it once, and then you're done. I like how in the birthday video that Hodges has left from Christine, she's kind of being a little overtly sexual to him in there, and her kid's like right there. I just found that a little bit funny. That's when you learn about his nickname of Solo Lobo, which I was like I understand the translation, like a lone wolf, but like I don't know, it wasn't used that much. I don't understand why they introduced it. It's kind of a dumb name. I understand it's just because like he's going it alone within this film, and maybe that's kind of a little bit of foreshadowing that for the most part he needs to go it alone, but he really doesn't because he's got Harmon with him the whole time. He's got the mayor's daughter involved. He's got his wife. Like I don't know, the whole Solo Lobo thing. I was like, I don't know. Picking up where we left off in the last one with a corrupt mayor. Yes, once again, there's another corrupt mayor with the city. There's corporation, some sort of corporation causing issues in the environment that is then causing these gigantic alligators to run around and run amok. So really using the same formula from the first film. And it really uses the same formula in a lot of ways if you just kind of, literally if you do what I did and I like watch it one day and then like 2 days later I watch the second one. You know, you're just like, yeah, this is the same film, but it's just not as well done. It's the exact same formula. It's just gave us a lot less of what we actually enjoyed from the first film. And so in addition to not getting enough of what you enjoyed from the first film, it's also a tired formula. Like you've already seen it before, so you're just kind of like, okay, can we do something like kind of new here? No, not really. The setup with Hodges being the only cop who cares is a lot like Madison in the first one. Once again, using that formula. You have the Solo Lobo, which was Madison in the first one. I guess you could call him the original Solo Lobo, but yeah, I mean, that's what they have to do. Like, it needs to feel like all the odds are stacked against them, and nobody wants to take responsibility, and no one wants to get to the bottom of this, but they do. They're the only one who cares, and that's why it's even tougher for them, because they get pretty much no help. But he gets the rookie Harmon, so that's good for him, and his wife, and the mayor's daughter, and eventually the chief of police, so he does get help. I like Christine's passive-aggressive move of burning Hodges' steak when he's gets home late for dinner. That was kind of his big birthday celebration with the wink wink, like very overt wink wink of, you're getting sex tonight, which he was excited about, but hey, got wrapped up in alligator stuff, not gonna make it in time. But I love just the passive aggressive. She's just like, I think she said something like, I didn't know how well you wanted it done, so I just left it to warm. Here it is, basically. And it's just like, this is burnt. But he eats it anyway, because he doesn't want to give in to the kind of antagonism at that point, because he already knows he screwed up. Doesn't want to make things worse. Good job. And in typical fashion with films from this time period, Hodges has to go rogue because the chief won't support him. Yeah, that's what we were talking about with the whole Solo Lobo thing. A lot of films with cops investigating stuff at this point did this in this time period, 80s, 90s. It was very much, they're going to have to go it alone. They go to the police chief. Police chief's like, I don't have resources for this. This is a crazy idea. What are you doing? You're out. You're suspended. Hand in your badge and gun. You know, stuff like that. And it's the same thing here. It's like very tired trope. I like how the mayor doesn't even hide that he's being controlled by Vinny. Seen best when Vinny influences the mayor to have Hodges arrested right in front of him. Now, at that point, Hodges is still a police officer. He still has a lot of connections. I guess they're just assuming that the mayor can just tell the chief of police whatever, which happens for a little bit, and then the chief of police goes rogue, and that's how he ends up getting killed, which is a very bold move by Vinny. Very, very bold, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, yeah, I just love how he's literally, like, doesn't even hide it. He's not even like, you know, we'll talk about this later or something like that. Like, Vinny steps out of the back room, basically, and is just like, no, this is what we need to do. And then the mayor's just like, oh, yeah, okay, well, let's arrest him. Not even trying. Not even trying. I don't understand the toilet flushing like a vacuum cleaner joke. I did not get that, where, you know, Hodges ends up tying Harmon to the toilet in the restroom at the restaurant hosting a wrestling event. That is also very interesting. I just didn't get it. He's like, oh, yeah, watch out, because the toilet, it sucks like a, you know, it flushes like a vacuum cleaner. And then there's like the noise of him trying to stand up, and it's like, okay, I guess it sucked him back onto the seat, is what they're trying to insinuate there, but there's no way. Like, there's no way. And it's just a dumb joke. Like, it's just not into it. Note that one of the wrestlers is named Ramon. A nice little nod to the first film. I found that kind of funny. Chuckled a little bit. The first time you see the alligator, you barely see it because it's quick shots and it's pretty dark, so it lets you know that it probably didn't look very good. Yeah, the animatronic, if they even did animatronic alligator, probably did not look so good because it's very dark when you see it, and it's really quick shots, and it's just like bits and pieces. So, hey, when it's on the cheap and that's the best you can do, you got to keep it dark. This whole going after Hodges' badge thing escalated really fast without really much of any reasoning. It's literally just like, he wants to get to the bottom of this alligator thing. And then the jump to, like, the chief of police just being like, hand in your badge, is like, what? Like, we're not going to talk about this at all? I know it's, like, insinuated that this is coming from the mayor, and that's coming, and what this mayor's saying is coming from Vinny, because we see it. But it's just such a ridiculous leap. There's no, like, let's take it easy, let's look into it further, let's talk about this. It's just like handing your badge. It just seems like a ridiculous leap to me. Otis, the homeless guy who's the first person to get killed, I like the part where his buddy, who did survive, says, Otis didn't deserve to be a toothpick. That made me laugh. A little bit of interesting humor going on there, which there really isn't that much humor to it unless you're just laughing at the, so bad it's good aspect, which is fine. Now the chief suspends Harmon. That didn't take much either. So Harmon then gets suspended, and then Solo Lobo's not Solo anymore because Harmon has nothing to do, so they work together, and you're just like, this chief of police, like, how do they even have anyone on the police force? And Harmon gets suspended because he got duped by Hodges? Like, he didn't do anything wrong, really. Like, he let the guy go to the bathroom. I mean, come on. Like, and he's getting suspended for that? Like, I guess it's because it got into the media. I don't know. It just seems really ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this film that's just, like, goes from 0 to 60 and makes no sense why. So Harmon talking about Sherry's ass is endearing to her. Sherry, the daughter of the mayor. Definitely a film scripted by a guy, because if a woman was scripting that, Harmon saying something about her ass when they don't even really know each other all that well would either get him slapped or she would just not talk to him. It would be the end of it. Certainly wouldn't be a date. And a date that at the end of it implies sex. Wouldn't be that. So definitely a dude who wrote this. Why does Hodges try to wrestle Harmon? That's weird. When he's at his place after his Harmon's date with Sherry, and he comes in and he starts, like, trying to wrestle him. Like, I don't understand. It's just another one of those, like, weird moments where they're just like, oh, I'll put this in. This will be kind of funny. Not really. It's just odd. I don't get it. Excuse me. I'm glad when Christine talks her way into coming along for the hunt, because it means that there will be better acting in the scenes. But like I said earlier, we don't get nearly enough of Christine being involved. I really wish there was more. And of course, they bring Hawk in because they're following the same formula as the first film, so they need a big game hunter to come in. Now, I will say this. I enjoyed the character of Hawk a lot better than the character of Brock, the big game hunter from the first one. And I also like the fact that Hawk ends up working with Hodges eventually. That's another cool aspect to it. So a few, I guess, bonuses in the side of a few thumbs ups for the second film, I guess, which there are not many. And it took them way too long to get into the actual sewers. It took them about 45 minutes into the film to actually get into the sewers. Whereas in the first film, we were in the sewers pretty quick and for quite a while. And they really used the scenery of the sewers to their advantage. In this one, they're just kind of like, yeah, I guess we got to go there for a little bit. We'll just spend a little time there and then we'll get out. So that kind of sucks. I wanted more sewers. I like how the two sticks of dynamite that are used explode above the alligator, and then they're just like, oh man, it didn't even faze him. Like, they actually, like, put it in his mouth or put it on top of him. Like, it literally, if you watch that scene, the explosion is all in the ceiling of the sewer. And you're just like, of course it did nothing to him. Of course he's not phased because he's down here in the water and the explosion is way up here. Like, at most, it just kind of rattled him a little bit. I was just like, that's funny. Another just like, this is so bad, it's a good thing. The series of deaths in the sewer with Hawk and his men were pretty terrible looking. And this goes back to the whole issue of them not trying to show a whole lot of the actual alligator, because the alligator didn't look great. I'm sure they were also trying to not show too much of the deaths because they didn't want to have to do too much practical effects. They didn't want to have to throw too much gore in because that's money and that's time, and it seems like they didn't really have it with this film, as is evident. Pretty brazen to run the police chief off the road into a car wreck. Yeah, this is what I was talking about before. I was like, very brazen by Vinny to just take out the police chief. He could have come up with something else. He has the mayor in his pocket. I don't understand why he decided he wanted to go along with the whole idea in the first place of just like, yeah, let's, shut down the carnival. Like, this is because this is his plan. It's like, he's going to have a carnival, and then people will be more likely to sell their houses to him because he's got this big real estate scheme. I don't understand. Like, it's very half-baked. It's not very good. It's just not a very good concept. Lazy writing. I do like how Hodges and Hawk team up, like I said before. They really set up a dangerous scenario with someone needing to stick the alligator underneath its jaw with that giant needle. I do like that aspect that was introduced because A, the big needle thing looks cool. B, it makes the audience member think, ooh, yeah, they're going to have to get really close to this thing. So that just ups the danger factor for Hodges and his crew. And, in the end, they make it happen. They do it. The alligator explodes. And you know what? By the way, I do think the alligator needed a name in this. I really kind of take issue with the fact that there was a name for the alligator in the first one, Ramon, and there's no name for this one. I think they should have just come up with a name. Is it Ramon 2? I guess that's what we should just call it. Okay, so how is Vinny going to explain the mayor being dead? Because he then, on this Ferris wheel, shoots the mayor. And the other thing is, like, you have goons for that, dude. Like, you don't have to get your hands dirty. Use one of your lackeys to have him killed, not at a carnival where there are a lot of people, and certainly not on a Ferris wheel in the little compartment you were also sitting in. It's just like, I guess maybe they're trying to show that, like, this guy actually runs the town and, like, everyone knows it and accepts it for the most part. But, I mean, come on, like, have some discretion here. Ridiculous. Seeing the alligator going toward the carnival made me think to the Roger Corman film, Humanoids from the Deep, but I knew that scene was not even going to come close, and it doesn't. It's not even half as fun as the carnival carnage in Humanoids from the Deep. If you want to see awesome carnival carnage like you thought maybe you would get in Alligator II, The Mutation, watch Humanoids from the Deep, because that's the payoff. That's the good stuff. That is crazy. It's fun. It has good effects to it. This, lazy, barely anything happens. The majority of what's going on is just people running. Let's be honest. Satisfying enough to see Vinny get eaten by the alligator. But the romp through the carnival, like I said, lame. Very, very lame. But, we get that munch on Vinny. That's good. And I did like the alligator explosion. I thought that was pretty solid. It looked decent. It looked about on par with the alligator explosion in the first one, so I'm down with it. I like how Harmon and Hodges at the end say "see ya around" to each other. They're gonna see each other tomorrow at work. Like, literally another one of these just, like, dumb things that's thrown into the film where they're just like, see you around. Like they'll see each other in, like, years or something. Or, like, maybe they won't even see each other at all. And it's just like, you work together. You're going to see each other tomorrow, most likely. Unless it's, like, a Friday or something. A Friday or Saturday. Then maybe there's a day or two you won't see each other. But just weird choices. It's appropriate that the chemical company in this film, where all the chemicals were being dumped, and that's what turned the alligator into a giant monster, that the company is called Future because they're destroying the future by dumping all those chemicals in the town. I'm assuming that was, the intent of they're just destroying the future, which is why they're called Future. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's talking about, much like in the first one, how corporations and corruption and government can destroy towns. Like, that's literally what this stuff is about at its core. Definitely needed a lot more alligator. I'm going to reiterate that. More alligator. But those are just my opinions on the film. I would love to hear your opinions, so go ahead and put it down in the comments. Like it, hate it, in between, let me know. Give me a sentence or two what you did or didn't like. Out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'll give it 2. I was between 1.5 and 2 stars, but I'm going to go 2 stars because there were enough kind of fun things, and it does kind of hit a little bit of like a so bad it's good note. And I really like Dee Wallace's acting. I like the character of Hawk. I like the teaming up of Hawk and Hodges, and like the alligator exploding is cool. So there's enough stuff. So 2 stars for this one. Yeah. So that's about it. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. It keeps me motivated to keep doing these videos because I'm not making any money at this point doing this. I'm just putting out free content. I've been doing it for like 4 years or something. It's a lot. Also hit the notification bell button, and then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing 4 a week at this point, which I think is a good amount. But regardless, thank you very much for checking out this particular video, and until next time, keep it brutal.